narrative anyway, because we discussed that, but,
We're still trying to do the research to get that data off of those polls. So it's with the company that, I think VDOT and everybody else, that put the polls up, they were more aware of it, but, I don't have any software at my office that I have seen to learn how to pull it off. So we're just still trying to track it down and trace it.
all right, great, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that mic on for him? Because it is? Okay, all right.
I'm sorry, I just didn't pull my mask down.
All right, nobody else with questions for the police department? Moving on to public works and utilities. Anybody have any questions there? Hearing none. Community and economic development. Any question for Joe Elsa? Or Joe Elsa, you ready to make a statement?
Mr. Mayor, members of council, thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. Just to kind of give you a brief overview of some of the highlights in my report. I am actively working on we recently voted at the EDA meeting to move forward with a company called Rethink Main Street, who specializes in small town revitalization and new development marketing. So we'll be working on that very soon. I'm meeting with the landowners on 301 corridor tomorrow, just for a preliminary meeting to talk about their vision, so that we can make sure that we're working with landowners to come together with something that works for the town and for the owners of the property. The American Rescue Plan, I don't have a whole lot to report there, except that I did attend a webinar through Municode, and some of the big takeaways are that the guidelines will be released from the U.S. Treasury around mid-May. They're expecting 2 distributions of funds. The first distribution for populations of 50,000 or less, which is us, should be coming by mid-June or mid-June to July is what we're told. And the money will need to be spent by 12/31/24. Again, at this point, we just don't have a lot of answers. So I wish that I could, I'm sure that you have a lot of questions, and I do too, but I will be sure to keep you all posted as I learn more about that and what that means. It's going to be important that Town Council and Economic Development Authority has a plan for that spending when it does come through and once we understand the parameters of that. Real quick.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. You said we'll be getting the money, but did you say we're getting half of it?
I know that I'm not exactly sure. I know that there's 2 sets of distribution schedules.
Right.
So I know that the first distribution for populations of 50,000 or less is supposed to be happening between around mid-June or July. And I am not sure if that means that that money goes to the state and then is distributed to the municipalities, which would therefore prolong that process a little bit. So I don't know exactly when we're going to see the money in our bank account or in our hands, but I do know that that first distribution is scheduled for mid-June or July. Again, I don't know what that means.
And that I was on the webinar with Melissa, right? You were there with me, right? No, you weren't.
I was on.
It was you and her. That's right. That's right. Just let some of y'all know that it's going to be broken up into 2 sections. It should be like a 50% and then a 50%. 50% of that is going to be for PPP or PPE, but we're not quite sure all the clarifications of that. And then the other 50% is going to be for businesses and other necessities or, whatnots. Like I said, they're still in the process of trying to determine how and what can be used for. But we do have until 2024 to use it. So it's not like something like the last one, we had to spend by the end of December. So it can be used for projects you know, extended out, you know, through the years. So hopefully get some more clarification on exactly what we can use it for, coming down real soon. But I know they were pretty dead set on 50/50 PPP, and then, of course, your businesses and other establishments. Go ahead, Joyce, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Clean Sweep is scheduled for June 5th, Saturday, June 5th, the spring Clean Sweep. This year, Goodwill was, we've traditionally worked with Rappahannock Goodwill in the past. They have been unable to commit to any pickup services in the midst of the pandemic and just low staff and low resources. I've reached out to the Salvation Army in Fredericksburg, and they are willing to help us. They will only have one box truck, whereas we usually have two. So we are asking that, we're saying that there's not going to be any pickup for any damaged items, mattresses, box springs, TVs, or large pieces of furniture. But of course, clothing and small things and not, books and things like that, of course, we'll be picking those up. But we're really looking forward to donating to the Salvation Army. It's a great charity, and they do a lot of wonderful things in our region. I am actively planning for Harvest Festival, just because, as you know, this takes many months of planning and coordination. It's not something that can be done in a month or even two. It's not something that can be thrown together overnight. So my first step in doing that, and one of the reasons I've started moving forward with updating the application, putting verbiage in the application to address the pandemic with regard to our vendors and things like that. I have been speaking with the organizers of the Urbana Oyster Festival. They are actively planning for a regular street festival, which is a 50,000 person multi-day festival. So if that's an indication of whether or not Harvest Festival will be happening, I thought it best to be proactive instead of reactive. So in your packet, in my report, I've included the 2021 vendor application, along with, did a fair amount of research on some language that should be included in that application. Andrea has seen that, and we're working together to make sure that, that all of our T's are crossed and I's are dotted. Obviously, we're in uncharted territories, but I can assure you all and assure the citizens of Bowling Green and any festival goers that the town of Bowling Green will be doing everything possible in our control to maintain safety and make this a safe event for everyone. Again, I'm in the early stages of that. This is going to take a lot of planning and research. I have also been in touch with the Virginia Department of Health to make sure that we're complying with any guidelines set forth by them, as they are the enforcers. I'm working with Caroline County Public Schools for their summer extravaganza program and with owners of Old Mansion. This is a community relations project. We will be on June 14th. We are putting together an experiential learning program for fourth graders, working with a historic preservationist and architect that will be giving the students a tutorial on the construction and restoration of the property. And then on July 1st, working with first graders for planting of the sunflowers. So they're going to be planting some sunflowers. They're also, the owners of Old Mansion are getting a head start to plant sunflowers before the fact, so that the kids can hopefully pick some sunflowers and maybe take them home. But these little feel-good projects are things that, with our youth, are things that that convey over the generations of time. And so if we're looking for ways to make Bowling Green special and make Old Mansion special as a part of our town, this is one of those ways to do it. This is just a fun project. I am not organizing this event. I am simply acting as kind of a conduit or liaison between the school system and the owners of Old Mansion. And that covers all of my highlights, and I'm happy to take any questions that you all may have.
I just want to go back to the webinar that we were talking about for the CARE funds. Sharon Alsop with the King and Queen County reached out to us when we were on the webinar also. So talking about coordinating together, maybe to, you know, work together and have the funds together, ideas together. So if you wanted to reach out with her, she wanted to touch. And what I understood was the second year we could use in the infrastructure and broadband, stuff like that.
That's fantastic, Ms. Gaines, and if it's all right with you, I'll follow up with you offline and maybe get her contact information, and I always welcome any opportunity to collaborate with other neighboring jurisdictions, municipalities.
Sure.
Thank you all.
All right, thank you, Joelsa. All right, moving on to consent agendas. Do I hear a motion that we accept the consent agendas as they are?
I'll make that motion, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Mayor, are we going to take care of item number 4 first?
Oh, that's
Oh,
town
yes.
clerk, sorry. Thank you. Take that, I rescind that motion. Town clerk's report. I checked off the wrong one. Anybody have anything for the town clerk?
This is a passing of the baton from myself to Tracy for this report, so we'll work through this one together if there's any questions on anything on the town clerk report.
I don't hear any. Okay. That's it, all right. Now moving on to the consent agenda. Thank you there, Arthur. We had a motion, do I have a motion to accept the consent agendas as they are?
I'll make that motion again, sir.
I got a motion by Mr. Volt. Do I have a second?
I second it.
Got a second by Ms. Gaines. Any discussions? I do want to say, we're scheduling a public hearing for the fiscal year 2022 proposed budget tax rates and utility rates. And that's going to be a public hearing that'll be held at Town Council Thursday, June 3rd, 2021, beginning at 7 p.m. Bowling Green Town Hall. So if anybody has any questions pertaining to the budget, that's when we will have the public hearing. Hearing no comments, question, yes.
I did have one on the bills. I'm trying to find which one it was.
We're
now.
on consent agenda, so if there's questions, we'll have to pull off the item.
Okay,
to
we do it,
discuss.
we'll have to put off if we do, okay.
So
Well, I can't find it, so I'll follow up on
and
it.
do we
Okay,
have
all
a
right.
motion on the floor for
Yes, we do already. All right, all in favor, say aye.
It was, well, okay, I thought we were at discussion because there's already a second, but
No, there's, Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
may I provide an explanation?
okay,
The consent agenda is designed for routine items that are not anticipated that will require any discussion.
right,
The purpose is to kind of expedite the meeting. If there's anything on the consent agenda that a council member wants to discuss, the proper procedure is, prior to a motion to approve the consent agenda, is to
Right.
request that a particular item be removed from the consent agenda. Then the consent agenda would be voted on, and then that item would be addressed separately.
right. And we've already got a motion to accept them as they are. We've got a first and a second. So, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'll
Consent,
I'll abstain, Mr. Mayor. Since I can't find that, I'll just abstain from voting.
consent agendas pass. Report council committees. Anybody here from EDA? How about planning? Oh, EDA, I'm sorry, Jerry. Go ahead then.
No, but what I had is pretty much what Joel had already talked about, but to rethink Main Street, about the marketing media kit for, creating a kit for the town of Bowling Green, focus on 301. We met and talked about that.
Okay.
But she actually went through everything, so that's all I had. Thank you.
All right. Planning, did y'all meet?
No, we did not meet this year, this year, this month, thank you.
Sidewalk and streets?
Yeah,
Utilities?
we did meet, there wasn't really much to update on. Everything relevant was in the Public Works report.
All right, and personnel and ordinances?
No, we did not meet. We all met.
All right. Well, that concludes today's meeting as far as open session. We are scheduled to go into a closed session. Closed sections in accordance with section 2.2-3711A1 of the Code of
And that's
Virginia.
for the purpose of the discussion of the hiring of a town manager.
To consider, perspective, to go over applications.
I'll make that motion as stated.
All right, I got him first by Jeff, second.
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Hooley. All in favor, raise your right hand.
Aye.
All righty. And we are now in closed session.